All right, so how are things going generally? I'm going to throw up another poll for you guys. I'll let you guys add more things here because I figure you probably have a spectrum. So if you got farther than something that's not on that list, go ahead and add it. Josh, on your local, on your log, or on your login, it puts the component state into the URL. That sounds really freaky to me. Okay, so it's like the submission stuff. It's putting it on there as a query string for a get. Why would it do this? Would it do this if we were doing a?
It should be a post.
It should be a post. Let me see here.
Josh, are you using Axios? Can you paste your Axios code to Slack?
What's weird is that login doesn't appear in the URL. It's like the root path that suddenly got the username and password attached to it for some reason. Looks like on the poll we're showing a fairly decent bell curve.
It looks like most people are chugging through. It's good to see.
Josh not changing the push location, was that the problem? Admit not being clear on what that is. Gabrielle, is your Axios call similar, but you did use a prevent default in there? I kind of feel like prevent default wouldn't. Anybody else want to post their Axios poster here? So submit maybe pushing the rest of it through the form with its default behavior. That makes sense. Want to give that one a shot, Josh? Woohoo! Gabriel for the win. How's the other stuff going? Anybody else got some more hang-ups or weirdnesses or? There's got to be something.
Were there any that we were working on yesterday that we didn't didn't get resolved? Like Erinch, did you ever solve that the pusher app key issue? Cool. Did you figure out what the issue was? It's always nice.
Except now I can't put it in the FAQ. Something happened to fix it. I'll add the prevent default one as well. Let's see where was that thing. Nothing else? It's got to be something weird. I saw a couple weird ones go by yesterday. Whoops, I didn't click there. Oh, man. I'm going to bet, well, let's see. I'll bet it's a difference in the HTML. So how does your render look compared to? Yeah, I'll bet that's the difference. So yeah, there's a normal behavior when you click a submit button, a button specifically of that type, or an input of that type as well. When that happens in a form, then it has some behavior. I kind of feel like, well, I think the correct answer is prevent default, because we are handling it ourselves, right? You hit the button, we want to handle it completely, do an Axios call, that's all. We don't want any more HTML behavior to happen. So prevent default is the right thing. I'm kind of curious if Josh had a form like this, if you'd also added action equals get, or sorry, action equals post to that form, if that would have changed things. But it still, I think, would have been wrong, because I feel like that would have been kind of two submissions in a way. There'd be like your Axios one, and then there'd be it would try to post to the root path. It probably still would not have worked well, but probably would have kept the parameters out of the URL. Just would have been strange. And I don't actually know what the best practice is with a form. When I was doing all the client-side work before Lambda School, I don't think I ever put anything in a form, but I wasn't doing React either. So maybe React has a different pattern that works better with forms. The way you have it rigged up here is like you're relying on the login button being a submit that triggers on submit, right? Which is totally fine. Whereas I think in my work, and I was just doing vanilla JS, I would typically just rig the handler directly into the button. Be like, oh, on click, do that.
Ooh, I wonder if this is because Heroku officially doesn't support SQLite, so it will wipe out. It'll clear out your local files every 24 hours. Now they say every 24 hours, but actually they don't do it every 24 hours. But it might be that your SQLite was clobbered. That's why officially you're supposed to use Postgres on Heroku. But that would be my first guess.
Yeah, but I did
Wait, this is
use
local though.
SQL. I mean server. I mean database on Heroku though. It's not using the same SQLite. And yes, this is on local.
Oh,
That's odd.
weird. Just say again.
So it was working in the morning, and then at night I try again. So basically, it popped this error every time I do anything with Python manage.py. I cannot show migration or anything, not even like run server. Maybe the database got corrupted.
Have you tried deleting your database, your db.sqlite, and also in the migrate, the 0001 dot something? If you delete those, and you can run your migrations again.
I haven't tried that. Let's see.
Yeah, if you delete adventure/migrations/0001_initial.py, and then just delete the db.sqlite 3, you can run make migrations and migrate again. But I don't know if that would fix what's going on here.
Let's see if I can Googling around. No, this is in Portuguese.
Yeah. No, I delete them. I still get that when I run the migrate. So basically, I run anything with Python manage.py, I will get that.
That's strange.
Were there more errors on that?
No, I think that's the only one. Hey, let me post the whole thing.
Yeah. Also, what's your env.env look like for the database URL? It's weird that it was working and then it stopped, though.
This is my env.
Get there in a second. What does this mean? It's a rare error.
Josh, player gets added to user automatically. If you look in model.py, underneath the player model, you'll see a function called create user player, which will so when the user is created, it will create a new player object and a new token object, and it'll set the user to the user that was just created.
This is such a weird thing to have to do, Jared. I wonder why. Totally funky.
I think it's because you are using one line to set the default database to be either Postgres or SQLite, depending on the environment. And when you set it with Postgres as the default, then it's setting SSL mode in the background. So I think you could probably disable that option being set in the library itself, but that's a quick workaround.
Interesting.
I would look in DJ database URL to see if they are setting the SSL mode option on the default database.
Delete databases. What's the rest of the code look like around there? The rest of the database setting code?
I think it's just a regular setting for DJ database UI.
That looks right to me. Yeah.
I mean, after I deploy it to Heroku, I never touch it again, all the settings and everything. And just last night it broke. So.
Oh boy, let's see here. And this is something that we just had in here, right? Let's see, we had the old version.
I did change it back to that and it still didn't work.
Really, you changed it to this and it didn't work?
Yeah.
That's even weirder.
I thought it was because of DJ database, but it wasn't.
If you switched it back to this one, it seems like it should have no choice but to use SQLite. The way you have it, though, seems like it should use SQLite. I wonder if we're barking up the wrong tree. I wonder if there's some way to get it to tell us what the config is, what it thinks the config is.
I mean, my Heroku server working fine, so I rather debug this later so I can focus on my project right now.
Yeah. That makes sense. Although we are here.
Yeah.
In the hour.
But I mean, it took me the 2 hour yesterday just to see if anybody ran into this, and nobody did. So.
Yeah. Man, this is a weird one.
If you look at the original error, it say that con equal to database dot connect, and then there's a keyword argument in there. So somehow they got the SSL mode as a property, and that property is not supposed to be there. So I don't know where the database dot connect come from.
Yes, I don't know either. Oh, interesting.
Looks like we're starting to see the inner workings of how Heroku actually gathers up all this option data.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Okay, I did find another interesting command to run as well. Although, I don't know if it's going to run or if it's just going to crash. If you run that command, it dumps like tons of settings out, including what it thinks some database stuff is. We can check and see if the database is sensible.
That just fixed it. What Jared did.
Whew!
Nice.
So I guess the Django Heroku the settings logo messed something up.
That's actually a normal line. That's like the last step of the settings where it takes everything that was in the file. That's what the locals are. And then it gathers them all up into a dictionary. And so that options key you were trying to access to remove a property didn't exist until that line executed.
How come nobody else ran into this?
It's the interplay between DJ database URL automatically configuring your database for you and SQLite and PostgreSQL having different allowable properties. Apparently, SQLite 3 does not have an SSL mode that it accepts, whereas Postgre does. And DJ database URL intends to use that because it's sensible to do so. But when you have two different schemas that you're working with the same line of code, sometimes stuff like that pops up. And it's just DJ database URL tried to feed the SSL mode keyword argument to a SQLite 3 connect function, and it didn't like it.
This is definitely going in the...
Wow.
Yeah. I'm still curious if you run that...
yeah, let me run it in a second.
What that says is if you scroll up, there should be a databases equals line in there. I'm curious what that thing looks like.
I think it's the third-party developer's issue because this isn't a Django library we're using, right? It's a DJ database URL, some guy.
Right. I still feel like DJ database URL should have been able to say like, oh, hey, this is a SQLite database, so I should not use that keyword argument.
Go spelunking in his source. There's actually an open issue for this with MySQL on the repository.
Huh. Let's see here.
Wait, did I use MySQL? Now I'm wondering.
Oh, let's see here. That looks like what I've got. I'm kind of curious if you comment out that line at the end of your settings that you just added, and then you run your check again, does it say anything in here about SSL?
Yeah. Let's see.
Although at this point, it's just academic interest. Jared, that was an awesome find.
Thank you. This is interesting as well.
Yeah.
I think that database options is going to be full of something.
Yep, it came back. Oh man. But I did use a Postgres on Heroku, not MySQL, so it could happen in Postgres.
Does it say SSL mode require under options?
In the option,
Yeah.
I
I found the line of code that does it in the DJ database, so I think you can pass a keyword argument to prevent it from happening. You can do like SSL require is false or something. It should stop it from doing the madness.
I use that. Let me try it again. The one that.
Yeah, it seems actually really straightforward. The source for actually making the URL, it just pops that SSL mode into a dictionary and then sets the options to that dictionary.
Yeah.
Well, it's immortalized.
If I put that line with the SSL required to false, underneath the Heroku settings,
that would be an argument to the DJ database URL config.
Yeah, but since it's still the Django Heroku, I have to put it underneath the import, right?
You put it.
I can move the import.
You can put it wherever you'd like, because in this case, it will not allow that setting to be set in the first place. So instead of removing it, you're just not setting it. Hopefully.
You mean set it to false like up here?
Yeah, like where you're setting the database itself. You add another argument.
So just like that, but false here. Or flash even.
Yeah.
Curious
No,
if that
it's
works.
still say database not defined. Um, oh, notice databases. So I put option.
Well, any other outstanding issues we can hack on while we're all here? The more eyes we can turn on to the problem, the better we are at solving it.
So if I move that line up top, right after I define the databases, it would say that the option is not defined. So that it seems like the option only came in after the Django Heroku setting logos.
Yeah. That's what Jared was saying, that it was that last line of the file is the one that actually creates the options.
Yeah.
As a reminder, tomorrow morning we won't meet at 8. You'll just have the day to hack on this until 2 p.m. when we start demos. Well, any more QA stuff? If not about the project, QA about anything? Everybody's just chomping at the bit to get hacking. We can do that too. All right. My internet's not frozen, is it? I see Brady moving. Last call. We'll be around as always. So I got to say, I'm pretty stoked to see what people have come up with tomorrow. Anything else, Brady?
Nothing for me.
All right. Let's just call it an early morning then. I'll post the video as always. And keep those questions coming as you get them. Have fun hacking today, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
All right. See ya.